President Trump downplayed the threat of the coronavirus on Monday, and we're also learning more about a potential exposure in the White House. This, as I mentioned, as some members of Congress self-quarantine. Paula Reid has the latest on the new questions the Trump administration is facing about the outbreak.
As he returned to the White House this afternoon, President Trump waved but refused to take questions. Though on Twitter, he continues to downplay the global epidemic, accusing Democrats and the media of trying to inflame the coronavirus situation. That directly contradicts members of his own administration.
Make no mistake, this is a very serious health problem.
The president also publicly defying government recommendations on hygiene.
It sounds simplistic, but it's true. Washing of hands.
And now CBS News has learned the president may have been exposed to the virus himself. At least 4 members of Congress have decided to self-quarantine after coming into contact with a person who tested positive for COVID-19. The contact occurred at a conservative convention in Washington less than 2 weeks ago. One, Georgia's Doug Collins, can be seen here with the president on Friday. And Florida's Matt Gaetz traveled on Air Force One with the president just today and announced his self-quarantine roughly an hour after landing. Gaetz made fun of the coronavirus response last week when he wore a biohazard mask on the House floor. Matt Schlapp, who oversaw the conservative convention, is also in self-quarantine. His wife, Mercedes, was expected to be part of a Women for Trump bus tour with the president's daughter-in-law. The tour has now been delayed, even as the president has yet to curtail his own campaign travel.
And Paula Reid joins me now from the White House. Paula, we just saw the president and members of the coronavirus task force. They say that they're going to meet with members of Congress and they're going to weigh further economic measures. What else came from this briefing?
The biggest surprise, of course, was an appearance by President Trump, who was not expected at this briefing, though he did not take any questions. He left that to the vice president and others. It's pretty significant that the president has not taken any questions from reporters, despite having an opportunity in the briefing room. We greeted him as he returned to the White House, and he was with the traveling press pool earlier in Florida. So on a day when the coronavirus is spreading, markets are tumbling, the prices in oil are going down, it's surprising that the president did not take the opportunity to answer any questions to help calm Americans. But it's significant here that the president is going to head to the Hill tomorrow with his economic team to seek a possible payroll tax cut. Because up until now, the president and his top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, they have expressed some skepticism about any kind of broad intervention or broad economic relief. Last week, Larry Kudlow told us that if they did anything, it would be narrowly tailored, and he wasn't even willing to say what specifically they'd do. And Lana, for the past, almost the past year, this White House has been trying to figure out what other kind of tax relief they could offer, but they didn't actually think that they could get anything done with a payroll tax cut. They even contemplated for about a minute possibly doing a capital gains tax cut because they thought they could do that from the White House without any support from Congress. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes tomorrow when they head to the Hill to talk to Republicans, and then when they try to get support from Democrats to try to get this through.
Yeah, and Paula, you mentioned that it was odd that the president didn't take questions from reporters. And I have to say that I thought it was a little odd that he left before the end of the briefing. Were you given any indication of why the president had to leave or why he left?
So this is just a sneaky trick that administration officials, it's not exclusive to the Trump administration. Folks in the Obama administration used to do this too. They will come out, they will take advantage of the attention of the cameras, they will say their piece, and then they will get out of there before reporters start yelling questions. But as you heard in the briefing, there was an uproar. People started yelling questions. They wanted answers from the president. But I've seen other officials, in addition to the president, try to do this. It's something that we do not appreciate, because the understanding is if you come to the briefing room, we will give you the publicity, the attention, amplify your message, but in exchange, we expect that you'll answer at least some of our questions.
Paula, I'm also wondering, what's the Trump administration doing to try and prevent the virus from spreading within the White House?
Well, it's interesting. The White House is telling foreign officials not to visit, instead trying to do their meetings over the phone or video conference. But President Trump has some events later in this week. He is headed to Las Vegas for a fundraiser and a speaking engagement, and we're told that he still wants to carry on with that trip.
And Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar was appointed by President Trump to lead a coronavirus task force. Paula, you tried to ask him some questions about coronavirus testing on Monday. What happened?
I did. We were all waiting for him. Traditionally, when officials come down here to these tents to do cable news appearances, the understanding is that if you speak to that one or two outlets, use a CNN or Fox, that you will speak to all the other outlets too. You stop at a microphone stand. There are agreements about where they stand, agreements about how far we can chase them. And he did not stop to talk to us. We were pretty upset because this is a significant day. He talked to Fox and Fox Business for extended interviews, but then made us wait until after the markets closed to answer a lot of pressing questions that people had. Specifically, we were interested in where these tests were. Apparently, they shipped 1 million tests. Well, are they in transit? Had they arrived? These were very significant questions that we wanted answers to, so we did not let him off the hook. He came, he gave comments, and ran away way before he asked questions, but I chased him.
Good for you, Paula. Thanks so much.